Rolling, boys.
Oh, are we rolling?
We're rolling, man. Jumping right into
We're
it.
in it.
Nice.
We're in it.
We're in it to win it. Is the GoPro blinking red?
Yeah.
GoPro's
Yeah, we're
pretty
recording. So, special guest today. Got our buddy Culver Bradbury in here,
good. Hey.
a.k.a. Mr. Keystone
Uh-oh.
from Below Deck Down Under, Seasons 1 and, surprisingly, Season 2.
Yeah.
That was a little bit of a surprise for me. I didn't know. I didn't message you or anything about it. So, a little bit of context here. Gene doesn't really watch Below Deck.
Okay.
I didn't really watch it until your season. When I found out you were on it, I was like, man, I got to watch this. My wife is obsessed with Bravo. So, I'll be honest with you, man. I watch a decent amount of those shows.
Okay.
So Below Deck came on, and I was like, all right, my man's on it. I got it, because guys that don't know that me and Gene went to high school with Culver and knew you were going to be on the show, started watching it. Absolutely my favorite franchise, I guess, because I called them seasons, and my wife was like, you don't call them seasons, they're called franchises. So the franchise of Below Deck Down Under is by far my favorite one ever.
Yeah.
How did that get set up?
Just to touch on what Jim's saying. So you have your different franchises with Below Deck, and it's like ours is Down Under. So we're the Australia franchise, but they have like a Below Deck Sailing.
Yeah.
They have a Below Deck Mediterranean.
Okay.
The original one's like with Captain Lee. That's just like the OG Below Deck. But
Okay, cool.
yeah, so there's a couple different franchises. And the one I went on was, we filmed it in Australia, so it's called Below Deck Down Under.
Yeah.
It's by far the most entertaining one.
No, I've definitely heard about it because of you. Obviously, being from the county and school and stuff. Like, I'm not completely oblivious to the whole fucking thing. I just don't watch it religiously.
Yeah.
You don't watch Bravo, dude?
Jimmy's the only one that can have like a long conversation about like the housewife bullshit.
That's the one I don't watch, dude.
Yeah,
It's the only-
bullshit.
I
Yeah,
don't.
you do.
No, I don't. I fucking hate that one. I can't stand it. I'm obsessed with Vanderpump Rules. It's probably my favorite show in the fucking world. Southern Charm, it's right up there. They're probably pushing each other for number 1, number 2 for me.
Okay.
My favorite shows in the world, because my wife is obsessed with it.
Yeah.
So, I got to be there. I usually have to be bought into something. At this point, I'm bought in, and we're like 9 seasons deep on each. Like I'm invested in it emotionally now.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, man, I don't care. It's entertaining. I like it. Same thing with Below Deck. So I like the sailing one. The sailing one's pretty good.
Yeah. No.
Other than yours. Yours is my favorite, and then sailing for sure.
And it's funny because I get a lot of people that'll reach out to me and they'll be like, Culver, my wife, I end up watching it because my wife makes me watch it, and they're like,
the shit's on when you're laying in bed or whatever, for sure.
Yeah. And people are like, I'm so glad, you make it worth it to sit there.
Yeah, for sure.
Through some of these
100%.
episodes, and I'm like, that's who I do it for, for my boyfriends, and,
Dude, so
my husbands, and all the brothers that get kind of drag through it a little bit.
and you'll find yourself, there's parts of this, because I know you haven't really watched it, there's parts of it where so Culver will work under a main deckhand, right? What's he called? The bosun?
Yeah, like a bosun.
The bosun, right? He works under him. He's usually like second in charge, et cetera, on this last season.
Okay.
And you'll find yourself because I know Culver, that's my fucking boy. And this guy will be being a dick about something at work. And I'll get emotional about it. But man, fuck this dude. Culver didn't do anything wrong. And Steph's like, relax. It's a show. Everything's going to be all right. Nah, man, fuck that guy.
Right.
Yeah, no.
That's funny, man.
Do you get a lot of that bleed over from I would say when the season airs, an episode airs, and there's drama that obviously I know is there's somewhat created tension. When you have that show up, when you have an argument with the bosun or whatever, do you get blown up on social media, guys being like, hey, fuck that guy, et cetera?
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things where it can be overwhelming, An episode comes out and then you'll open
The
your
social
phone.
media thing, on your level right now,
crazy.
could definitely just be overwhelming.
Yeah.
I can see that, for sure.
Yeah. So they're always man, an episode comes and it's you get everyone commenting on the episode and this and that, and you just kind of do your best to sort of handle it and get back to everyone. But it is a lot to sort of.
Do you try to get back to everyone?
I try my best to, you know what I mean? But it's still, it's a lot as far as I don't know how people run over these big social media accounts. You see why they have people come in and sort of manage them for them.
Sure. Where are you at right now? How many followers?
I think it's funny. When I started the show, I think I had 900 followers, and then I just passed 100,000.
There we go. That's awesome.
So,
I'm one of the OG followers. I'm one of the 900.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's good.
Yeah. Only ones I like are all your high school lacrosse pictures.
Yeah. Right.
My favorite picture, dude, is there was one where you got your shirt off and you're on the beach riding a horse.
Oh,
and
yes.
I was like, that's my fucking guy, dude. Yes.
Yeah, right? Yeah, and that was sort of the whole reason I wanted to do the show was when they reached out to me. You know, they were like, yeah, we're going to film this franchise. It's going to be at the Great Barrier Reef. You know, it was about 7 rounds of interviews. I didn't really think I'd even get it. And I kept getting to the next round. And
I mean, was that just like an application process? You just put your name in the hat and they called you?
Yeah.
Or were you already like in that boating industry or?
Yeah, I've worked in yachting probably the past 6 years.
Okay.
And, you know, it's been great. The way these yachts work is you have an owner buys this big yacht and then you need a crew to sort of manage the boat, take care of all these jobs and upkeep it. So you have everything from captains to officers to engineers, chefs, deckhands, stews, and we all live on the boat and we kind of travel together. And then, you know, you have some boats that are private where just the owner uses it. And then you have some boats that they call it chartering and they rent the boat out and, you know, you'll have different celebrities, guests, and
like wealthy people that rent it for the week or the weekend.
Yeah. So
how do they go about picking the guest for those? Like, is that something that's already set up, or do you just take I don't know what you can and can't say because of your contract, but when you coming into it, is it like those are already preset trips for that boat and then they just get filmed, or do they audition for those trips?
So the show is different. The show is like pretty much I think we film it in about 6 weeks and we do 9 charters. And I'm not sure as far as where they get the guests. That's one thing I always wonder is like, do they throw a couple curveball guests in there for you know?
It's TV, bro.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. Yeah. So
like,
you definitely get that
like
gist.
I would assume that the fucking drama's half staged too, because like. Which, I mean, whatever. You can't talk about it. I don't know. But
I don't think it is. And I don't even want you to comment on it. I don't even want to know.
Yeah.
Don't tell me.
Don't ruin Jimmy's fun.
Yeah, don't ruin my fun. But on top of that, like the other thing is you're talking about TV and like you got to think that it's also, I tell people from the beginning when I tell Steph's friends, like when they watch Below Deck, I'm like, the way Culver is acting, that's 100% authentic to Culver. You have not changed one bit. Like even the little intricacies of like the way that you act and interact with people. I'm like, dude, that's so Culver. The comments you're making and stuff like, so that's really cool to see. You didn't change and sell out for Bravo Nation.
No. And I think even I kind of fell into yachting. I was working, you know, I'd gone to college and then I played Division I lacrosse and I graduated and I studied kinesiology and exercise science and I was working as a trainer and, you know, I was working with these teams, different gyms and I went on a limb. I went out west and became a snowboard instructor just to change it up and I needed a summertime gig. So my best friend was from Fort Lauderdale and he started in yachting and I took my classes with him and down south, actually Fort Lauderdale is like your boating capital of the world. So the way we do trades up here is kind of how they look at yachting in the South a little bit. Like all these kids, they don't even go to college. Some
That's
of them
what they
just
want to do.
Yeah, they
like
just
it's
get
a trade. You're going to learn how to do that.
Exactly.
You're gonna travel.
That's cool.
It's a pretty bro lifestyle there, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, and
definitely it sounds intriguing for sure.
Yeah, and most people I talk to, the common question is like, you know, how do you get started? Like where they just don't know about the industry.
Sure.
So the show's great in that regard of exposing yachting and showing these people
especially like up here, dude. Even being on the bay, that's not really something that is talked about. Like that's not an option for most people. That's like,
well, there is some super yachts that I'll see where I live going in and out of the bay, back and forth. There are contracted super yachts.
Like
sure.
You don't have juniors in high school saying, "Yeah, I want to work on a yacht when I get to high
I
school."
think now that's probably changing.
It's a thing now.
Yeah. Oh, because of the show, dude. I know multiple people that have said their brother or sister or whatever is going to so and so to go work on a super yacht.
Yeah, and to get started, you take like 2 courses. It's pretty easy. It's like you go down. It's called an STCW, and that's like your basic like safety certificates you do. Because when you're at sea, you're not going to be able to call a paramedic or if there was a fire or something on the vessel. So that's an STCW, your first certification you get, and then it's a ENG1, and that's like a maritime physical, and they just check you out that you can kind of see and hear and everything checks out to be able to work on a yacht, and then you're good to go. Yeah.
So I guess even take away the television aspect of it, you're still continuing to pursue that industry.
Yeah,
like
so I still work in the industry, and it can be anywhere from like full-time jobs where you're working all year round to I'll work with like a crew agent, and she'll be like, "Hey, Culver, are you available for like a month gig or a week gig?" And it's really cool how you can just like kind of pick up work here and there when you want. So
Well, like, and now you got that celebrity status in that industry too, where like you're probably like you got like prime rates. You're like, yeah, well, I cost this much for the week, dude. Like, yeah, like,
it's funny, like even the industry, like the actual industry, like below deck's a little bit frowned upon in it. Like I think because you just have a lot of these old salty captains, and they're just like, you know, that speech when they sit the crew down and they kind of give you like a ream, and they're like, you know, this isn't below deck. Okay, you're not going to be going out and doing this. Like we're running a tight ship, and so I don't even really put it on my CV like that I'm on below deck.
I figured that might give you some street cred.
Yeah, it just I think it really depends. Like there's some you know boats that are a little, I don't know, like.
I'm thinking guests though, like wanting to interact with people like you because they've already kind of seen your personality and shit.
It's a dope, like if they would market it correctly. Yeah, I bet you people would sign up for that charter.
That's how I would market it.
Like,
for sure.
Hey, come out on my boat for the weekend. Culver's going to be there.
If I own the boat, the way that I would market it is I would try to hire everybody from your season to run my boat, and I would advertise the fuck out of it.
Yeah, if they're not doing that, they're stupid.
No, and it's just getting creative. It's like, you know, Gene's running a construction company, but we're in here like filming like a sweet podcast right now. And that's how some of those boats do it, where like, you know, they're doing a ton of marketing and they're online and people are seeing all the fun they're having on charter, so then their family wants to book it. Versus I've been on other boats where it's like it's NDA. It's like, no, leave your cell phone on the dock. Like we're not talking about what goes on. There's going to be like we got these Russians coming on and they're taking care of business. Like don't look them in the eyes, and they're here to And it's
that's
like
cool too.
And so you see both sides of it where it's like, and that's what I think I've gotten very good at is like you always want to read your guests. It's very big because it's like if they're coming on to do business, it's like, you know, for the most part, it's like stay out of the way, like, you know, check on them here and there, see if they need anything. Versus a family, and it's like, dude, these
you playing with the kids,
exactly.
And
it's like and I think that's what's always separated myself a little bit in the industry is like you get a lot of kids that you can tell grew up on sailboats with their parents and like socialization wise, like. They're just like cleaning windows, and I'm like, dog, put the window wiper down for a second. Like we got the family on, like yo, like show them what we do. It's such a cool job and operation, and
that's something I've said from the beginning with your personality is like if I was in a position where I could book a super yacht, like I would want you on there because of your interaction with the guests. It's really awesome to see. I would imagine that now it's probably translated into your regular yachting jobs that are not on below deck, where people expect this. So if you don't know, like when he walked in here, I'm going to put it up on Instagram later, but he was in Keith Stone, right? So Culver's kind of known for being the head of party operations. What's the name that
they're taking on the title of the CEO, the Chief Entertainment Officer.
So they'll have parties at the end of the night for like the last dinner, et cetera. So they'll have a whole theme and everything, and Culver will come out and be a stripper to a plumber to anything to entertain the guest, and it's like a really nice touch. And I wonder if now on your regular yachting trips, if that's what the expectation is, because that's got to be exhausting.
Yeah, no, it is. And even with the show, it became like what was one thing just led into another, and like they don't show this on the show, but a lot of it they'll be like, all right, well, Keith Stone's up tonight, and you're like, okay, here we go, and it's like 5 minutes, and you're just like, you know, planning things in your head. And I think that's always been a very like sort of a gift of mine, if you will, is like man, I can just kind of come up on the spot with these skits and know how to sort of read a crowd and feel that energy and show someone a good time, you know. And
it's a skill set, dude. Just like what Jimmy does with sales, it's a skill set. Either you got it or you don't. I mean, you know, it just is what it is, dude. And you got to be personable. You got to be able to relate to the people you're talking to. I mean, for sure.
Yeah, reading a room, like you're saying, reading your guests and entertaining people, it's like hand in hand, right? Like you kind of know, like, I don't know, I guess people always say like, oh, you'd be a great salesman. You have a gift for like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, it's just regular human interaction, bro. Like I can go into a room. I feel like it's the same. It equates to like, if you ever like been dating a girl and met her friends, right? Like so like their boyfriends, like the guys in the room, you're going to a new group of guys. Like I've always felt like I can just fit in because I can read the room. I know how to talk to people. I know what's going to not entertain them, but really go over well. I feel like how do you not have that skill set as a human? But apparently
a
people
whole lot of people don't have it.
I think even the thing that was really funny with the show was like when I was on the busier, like more strict boats, it was like you were entertaining here and there. It was like once in a blue moon. I was like, And then when I went on the show, it was like it's like a sprint. It's like 9 charters back to back to back. And it was like theme party. And I was like, man, this is very different than traditional yachting, but it felt like Spirit Week or something.
Yeah.
And like
that's where you thrive.
Exactly.
That's
where
you thrive.
Anyone from my home's like, they'll watch the show and be like, oh man, you guys are late to the party. Like Culver used to be doing this every day of the week and sent home in that mullet back in high school,
Yeah, that's literally what it is. You were the man during Spirit Week. Yeah. Spirit Week was fun, man. I don't even know if they do that shit anymore.
Yeah, I think we might have messed it up back in the day, and they've changed it. Yeah.
You think? I don't know, dude. So. I heard kids don't even go to homecoming now. So they all dress up, they all take pictures, and then they just go to dinner. Huh. They don't actually go to the dance. They don't actually go to the.
Do they still do the dance? Like it's an option?
I think so, but I think it's only the nerds that go now.
Ain't no way,
dude.
Man.
I swear to God. I'm telling you.
How many high school kids you talk to?
Steph's sister and brother just graduated 2-3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you're coaching now. Mm-hmm. You talk to high school kids.
Yeah, no. So, usually when I come home, I try to help out the boys. And I'll have to ask them. We got practice today at 3:30, so I'll run it by them. Just, hey, who's going to homecoming? What's the deal?
Maybe it's an Eastern Shore thing. I don't know, but I know for sure that there was multiple groups and the parents of people that I coached, too, that said kids don't even go to the dance anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm like... Hold on, that's not they've kind of skipped it because my parents made me go to the dance.
Right.
Like the whole point of it was like I wanted to get fucked up afterwards, right? So I had to go through this dance process in order to be okay with them being like, you can stay the night at your friend's house.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you got to go to the dance.
Yeah, you got to earn that. You got to earn that right to get banged up afterwards. But I guess they're just foregoing it now. Speaking of getting banged up, dude, I want you to watch the show. But the nights that they had out, these guys cut loose, man. So the charter will end. Like if it's a 3-day charter, the last night you guys usually have off the next day.
Yeah.
So everybody is getting pretty shitty.
Yeah. So the way, it's a lot, Gene, as far as like when I sort of got asked to be on the show, I had come from a very yachting background. I was like, I'm working on big time super yachts. I was like, this will be a cakewalk, like, well, what is?
So it's a smaller boat compared to.
Yeah, smaller boat, like quicker season. And then you get there and I was like, whoa, like this. It's a little bit of like a floating circus because you have so many moving parts between like hosting these quick charters. You're getting filmed all day long, so you're always mic'd up. Like there's a camera in your face all the time.
Exhausting too,
dude. It is like so exhausting. So then
like doing this with some buddies like for an hour and a half, like it's not that bad because you're just bullshitting. Mm-hmm. Like if you're expected to perform into a microphone, like
Dog, I hated it with the workout shit. Like doing every single day of videoing. It doesn't sound like it's just me in my garage. So I can't imagine if it was going out and I only had like 50,000 followers. Like this show has well over that. So I'm like, that would be extremely exhausting. I didn't mean to cut you off. Continue with what you're saying.
So it's a lot between like you're hosting all day these charters and yachting in general it's a tough day. Like you're up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. You're rinsing the boat down, getting it ready. By the time the guests are waking up, you want to have all your stuff out launched so they're ready for activities. And it's just like one thing to another. And then by the time they're laying down for bed, you're bringing everything in to desalt it, put the jet skis away, all this. And here comes the night guy with his hose in his hand and he's rinsing. It's an all around, thing to get filmed on top of it. You know what I mean? Is just like, it's a lot.
Gotta be fuck. I don't like cleaning my 20-foot center console after I take it out.
Right. So after these charters, for the show, we would go out and celebrate. So then it's like, they want you to sort of like, get after and have a good time. So then you're going out like, it's 9 charters, you go out 9 times and you're just like waking up and you're like, man, time to flip the boat. and you're just like, by the end, you're like, I haven't drank like
I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, right. It feels like a senior week or you're back in college and, it breaks some kids. You know what I mean? Like I can watch a show and I can see it on their face. I'm like, man, this cat is exhausted right now. And I know exactly how they're feeling just because, it ends up being just a lot on you, being switched on all the time, that sensory overload.
Dog, I can't imagine, like, if somebody said right now, you got to go to senior week, relive your right now, Jimmy, in your 34-year-old body and mind, you have to relive senior week and you have to work prior to it for 3 days before you can do it. It's a no for me, dog. I can't live that life anymore. Dude, yeah. It would destroy my body.
Mm-hmm. So it's a ride for sure. And it's so many moving parts. You know what I mean? It's like, gosh, it's not like it's like the same guest all week and you're settled in. It's like it's always changing.
Yeah, and then you got to flip it and you got to be like, this is going to be good for this set of guests, and you're on the whole fucking time. Mm-hmm. So with the cameras being on you nonstop, does it get pretty frustrating when like you're actually developing a relationship with this person off camera, on camera, et cetera? Like these are becoming your friends. You're working with them nonstop. Yeah. Like if you just have a real conversation with them that's not recorded or not being put out to the world, I'm sure that's got to be pretty fucking frustrating.
Yeah, no, it's just a lot in general. I think like, you know, yeah, like I said, just getting filmed all day and they call it the fourth wall, so we're not even allowed to talk to our camera people. You know, I have to act like Jim's filming me right now, and I can't, you know, and I got to act like he's not there. If he had a camera, I can't say hey. I can't say hey, good morning. You know, like he's not there. It's a fourth wall, and I can't say things like.
That's tough, dude.
I can't say below deck or here comes a producer and like, what we tell you, like don't say that. And you're just like Jesus Christ, okay.
Relax.
You know,
you got tons of people that can edit shit. Like,
right, exactly, and that's what they do. Like, and it's so much footage they have, Gene. So you almost feel like it's like, man, they can write any storyline they want. They can paint any picture they want. I think I was pretty naive as to like even how reality TV worked going into it. I'd just been working in the industry. I was like, yeah, it's cool. Like I sort of want to go to Australia and cross this off the bucket list. And
let me ask you then. I mean, are you happy with the way that they portrayed you on the show?
I mean, it's just like I sort of just kind of take it with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? When you sort of know.
Or do you think it was a fair portrayal of how you actually are?
I mean, you've had good portrays, then you've cut the short end of the stick when it comes to some edits. You know what I mean? You're just like, okay, like, and you can see like.
I think it looked from an outside perspective watching it, and this is from like all of Steph's friends that have like given me input. I mean, I know how they can flip things and cut it, but dude, overall, your portrayal on there, I feel like was pretty positive overall.
Yeah.
Like in the general consensus is that people loved you.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. I think for the most part, if you just be yourself, they only have so much to work with, you know, so if you act like a positive guy, the funny guy, the you know, the team player, like that's sort of how they got to paint
everybody
you.
has bad moments.
Exactly. And you'll do like 10 good things. They'll take that one bad moment. They're like, gotcha.
God, yeah,
they'll put it in there and you're watching it at home like, oh my God. You're like, this is, oh dude. And it'll get to you for sure. Like you'll watch it, you'll be like, come on, dog. And then everyone's blowing you up and they're like, you motherfucker. And you're just like, dude, like, oh.
I mean, I think I have an understanding of how that works like that. I don't know if I could do it. I don't think I'm cut out for it, dude.
You're not.
No, I mean,
you're not. You would be the most hated person in America. No, I'm just joking. I feel like you say what you want whenever the fuck you want, so you're probably not going to please a whole lot of people.
No. Which is okay. Like I don't care. I don't think I would put myself in that position personally.
Well, that's what I like about you, dude. I've told you that from the beginning. That's you. You be you. You do your Gene thing, and let's not try to sell it to anybody else any other way.
Yeah.
Which I feel like you were able to do on the show.
Yeah, no, and
I think your personality does meet that requirement for TV. You know what I think that's why you were successful on it.
Well, I think I got very lucky too, Gene, because it would be like them bringing a camera crew in here right now and filming what you guys do. Yeah. So for the most part, it was like I've worked in yachting. It's something I'm comfortable doing. Sure. I know the ins and out of it. And now this guy's just going to follow me with a camera and film me. So you get pretty comfortable.
Like you're confident in your day to day.
Yeah. So
I got you.
So it really, I'm very lucky that we have a busy schedule and something to like, you know, to do versus like these other shows like Desperate Housewives. I think they probably got to makeshift this drama a little bit more because they're just 100%. Like
That's why I can't stand that.
You know, for me, I'm like, yo, you got to watch out. Like I'm dropping an anchor right now. It's going to take your leg off. Like, you know, it's like go.
That's like with our industry, right? Like I've gone through a couple different content creators, like media guys. And I'm like, look, dude, like if you know how to use a camera and like you're used to doing like fucking pictures at a zoo, like we do cool shit between dump trucks and equipment and trees falling down and like you can be creative and go find shit to film.
Oh yeah,
it's just up to you to be creative about it.
Yeah.
And that's the same with like your world. Like those guys with the cameras are probably like, man, there's tons of shit to film around.
Yeah, no,
well,
it's not. It's not 4 women sitting in a circle yelling at each other.
Yeah, no,
that's good that you actually have that stuff to fill the time, so it's not completely just manipulated drama. I feel like because when I don't know, but thank God for it because I'm telling you what, man, Southern Charm is probably one of my favorite shows in the world. It? Oh God, I love that fucking show. Dude.
Yeah, see, and I should watch a little more. Just being in the Bravo world scene, like I don't even, I don't watch a whole lot of TV just because I'm on these boats. Like, we don't have cable at sea and stuff like that.
I don't watch a whole lot of TV either, but I know when that night hits, like we're watching Vanderpump or we're watching Southern Charm.
I'm eating a gummy. Yeah, I'm gonna watch some fucking Bravo.
Like, goddamn right, dude.
But if you have someone to watch it with, it makes it better too.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, you have to have that.
Yeah,
dude. What was it like going on Andy?
Oh, with Andy, that's such a funny thing. So Gene, I'm not sure if you know, Andy Cohen is.
He doesn't know.
He's like he would be like your big time poster boy for Bravo.
Yeah, no, I saw the highlights of your time.
He's like Carson.
I didn't watch the whole thing.
He's like the Carson Daly.
Yeah,
he's like what Carson Daly was to MTV. He's like to Bravo. I feel like.
So
you look nice when you went to that one.
Yeah, no. So I always try to. It's a really cool experience. Because Andy will have on like all different guests, and you go to the studio in New York, and that's a weekend where you really like. I always. I'm just Culver and I work on these boats. I wouldn't really say I'm Mark Wahlberg here or anything like that. Sure. But that weekend, they make you feel like Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah,
like they send you like this like stretch, like blacked out Escalade to the house and pick you up, take you to the airport, and then they got your driver with your name on it and put you up in the hotel. And they usually let you bring like whoever you want. So I always bring the family and a couple friends.
That's cool.
And it's just like these cool changing rooms and you get to have like a little pregame before you go on with them. But that experience, Jimmy, for my first go around was like really sensory overload. Cause like you're in the back and you're kind of cutting up with your friends, and then they come out and they just sit you down like this, Gene. And it's like, you're going to look at this camera, you got lights here, and then crowd there. And then Andy's like right here. And it's like, and they're just asking you questions. You're a little tipsy and you're like, oh my gosh. It's fast. And it's like a 30-minute take. So you can't even really explain yourself when they ask you a question. It's just like rapid fire stuff, and you play these games. So
it's wild.
It's a cool experience. So you know what I mean? Like all of it, I think.
I would say, dude, like you handling all of that shit in the spotlight. It seems like you've done well with it.
Yeah, and I mean, I just do my best to, I don't know, just kind of carry myself the right way and enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, for a lacrosse bro from Southern Maryland, man, I mean, fucking, you jumped into it and you're doing good with it. And I mean, keep it rolling, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Dude, I have so many questions to ask you because I am an adamant watcher of the show.
Okay.
But I don't.
So all good.
I think I texted you right out. Dude, I am. I'm a Bravo. I'm a Bravo fanboy. I don't even care anymore. Just like if I go I got over this a long time ago. Like my buddies like to drink beer. I like beer like the rest of them. But if I get to pick, I'm getting a fruity ass drink, dude, because that's what I want. I'm not worried about the tough guy bravado anymore. I am who I am. I like the shit. So I don't care. I like Bravo. I like fruity fucking drinks, man. It is what it is. Take it or leave it.
Whatever floats your boat. I don't judge either, man.
But the guy, I think I texted you when this happened. One of the funniest fucking things that happened on your last season was when you were first getting introduced to Adam. When he came on the show and you're like, dog, relax. This isn't the fucking Navy.
So the thing that's really funny, and like I said, they have so much footage. A lot of it doesn't make the cut. So when I came into this season, it was like a whole new crew, and the deck team, when I got there, was like, we're gonna play this prank on Culver. And the one Harry was like, I think his thing was like, he was just gonna give me a bunch of high fives, and he was pretty out there kid. I was like, all right, that's interesting. And then
he seemed like he was homeschooled.
Yeah, this other kid was doing like his little Nick thing, and then Adam was this kid from Brooklyn, and Adam played this like, I'm just a really pissed off New Yorker, and he did it for 24 hours. And like, dude, I mean, like I'm like helping this kid get groceries, and like he's like, yo, we need to hurry up, like seriously, like everyone needs to stop messing around. And I was like, whoa, like this is gonna be a long season if this kid's like this uptight right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it ended up being, I think they took some of those clips of Adam when and then like later in the night they did this fake like fight. They started fighting each other in the tender garage, and I'm sitting there like, what is going on? And these kids like looked at me, they're like, gotcha. And I was like, and there was no cameras around either, Jim. So I think that was like they were new, and I was like, if you guys are gonna do something like that, you should have a camera around at least so they catch these funny pranks and this stuff. But Adam was a great kid, and
he seemed like a really genuine dude.
No, he was, and it's funny, like Adam had like a like he worked on container ships, so his job, he went to like a maritime school. He has this big third officer license, and but his job was like working on these big, like you've seen those container ships, and when we're out at sea, it'll be everything from like fishing boats to like the ships and us on yachts, and it's a whole industry that's crazy. But Adam didn't have a whole lot of experience working on super yachts and doing lines and dealing with tenders and all that stuff. So
it's completely different.
Yeah, it is. It's really different. Yeah. So I could feel for him because it would be a lot. I remember my first boat on it. It's crazy. You know, you get there and it's this whole new world, and then
add the other shit.
Dude, to add on getting filmed all day.
Dude, I mean, honestly, I'm just as intrigued, if not more intrigued, by just that career choice. Right? Yeah. Minus the TV shit. You know, just working on the boats. I mean, I think that's getting to travel and meet. Dude, all over the world. I mean, that's a pretty cool.
Yeah. No, and I honestly, I tell people probably my favorite part of it, and because you do some cool stuff. You know, you're on these multi-million-dollar boats, and you're going to these crazy destinations.
Plus you get to bump elbows with like some really wealthy people, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what's fucking cool. Like talk about networking.
Yeah, no, exactly. You meet a lot of like interesting cats. Sure, for sure. Yeah.
There's only one thing that I would think would be the correct answer to what you're about to say, but I'll let you finish.
Oh, I'd say my favorite part is just like being on a team, though.
You're full of shit.
No, it really is. Like,
because Culver likes the fucking six pack, and fucking chicks in bikinis.
Well, there's one thing that I would be concerned with, and it's been the same thing I've been concerned with since my balls dropped. Okay, the women.
Oh, the women. Like,
let's be honest, it's got to be the best part.
I mean, well, it depends on your situation, because here's the thing.
Well, yeah, assuming I know that you're single going into it.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, when you get on these boats, it's kind of like joining a band, and whoever's in the band is going to travel with the band. I've always been fortunate enough that it's like, and I've been on bigger boats, so it's like there's about 9 girls that work on the interior. There's 9 deckhands, and I've always been able to connect with one girl, and then you kind of got like a little girlfriend to travel with and do cool stuff with. But there's a lot of guys where it's like, man, they're just there's no one there for them, and then you're out at sea by yourself, you know. And it's like, I've always been very lucky enough that like
you connect with somebody.
Exactly, I connect with someone. And if you pay your time, like the captain sees, like you guys aren't like fighting each other all day. Like they're like, all right, here's a privilege. You get to share a cabin. So then you and your girl like can stay in the same cabin together, and gives you just like, I don't know. It is nice because it can get lonely. You know what I mean? You're away from your family, your friends, missing all these things.
So
all
like
year.
those trips you're talking about, how long do they last?
Like it depends. Like usually seasons will be like traditionally will be like these boats go to the Caribbean in the winter, and then you'll do the summer in the Mediterranean, and you'll take it from like, you know, St. Thomas all the way across the Atlantic. And then you'll start your Mediterranean season, and it just depends on where the owners want to go and the itinerary. And
how long are those trips booked for? I think is what he's asking. Like if you're a guest coming on, like how long are you out at sea with that guest? Like how long is that trip?
It's usually about a week. Yeah, most of them like.
So that's pretty long considering what you think the turnover rate is from the show, because the show makes it seem like, you know, one episode usually 2 days, usually 2 nights and a day.
Yeah.
So you don't see that like. When you're looking at it from the viewer's perspective, it looks like you get 2 days, and then it's like, boom, I get to go out to the bar and meet new women.
Yeah.
But really, it's like you're on the boat for a week, that you're lonely or whatever. So like when I was saying the women, I'm thinking, all right, Culver's traveling to Australia, to St. Lucia, or wherever, like, and like, bro, you're working for 3 nights, and then you're chasing tail for a night.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more like it would be like playing a college sport, and you work these kids so hard. I mean, like we will go. I've been on boats. Like you'll go months without a day off, and you're working, and then they give you like this wad of cash, and then they let you loose on like Monaco or Italy or this or that, and like these kids go out, and it's like they're gonna burn it down.
Yeah,
you know
dude,
what I mean?
I would as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so
awesome.
So it's cool. So you go through the highs and lows to go, and I think that's why your bond with your crewmates becomes so tight. And like, some of the kids I've worked in this industry, like my best friends to this day, you know. So
I can see that happening really easily. Yeah, your season, the first season, I was kind of disappointed coming into the second season. They didn't just bring that whole crew back, because from a viewer's perspective, I got emotionally attached to that crew in particular. Yeah. So then when they brought it back the next year, Culver wasn't on the first 2 weeks. An incident happened. A guy got kicked off. And I was like, oh, shit, they brought Culver on. So it was awesome. But his original crew was badass. And I mean, I like the second crew too. Don't get me wrong. But I was like, why didn't they just carry it over into season 2?
And it depends. Like, I don't know. Again, that's just something out of my pay grade and what I know about with the show. But, usually you'll always have like your captain and your chief stew and your head of departments come back, and then they bring in a whole new crew.
Right.
And then like, if it was like, you know, someone got fired, they'll bring in someone from an old season and, you know, something like that. So I got brought back because I remember I was in Costa Rica, and this was actually crazy experience when it came to season 2. was working on a boat down there, and it was Russian owner, and this was like right when that Ukraine war started, and my buddy was on there. He's like, yeah, Cole, jump on, like we got rotation, big boat, sweet gig. He's like, the owners are Russian, but it's all good. And I remember before leaving, my parents were like, are you sure you should go on that boat with that war? Like, aren't they seizing those boats? And I was like, yeah, Carter said it's good. Yeah, dude. And I was like, why are we in Costa Rica? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, that's a very strange place to be yachting. I never yachted there.
Surfing's pretty good in the winter.
Yeah. So we were down there, and we had like the GPSs turned off, and we're like,
oh, shit.
I caught onto it really quick. I was like, I think we're laying low in Costa Rica. And then the owner ended up getting put under a sanction. And so if you were, it didn't happen at the time in the U.S., but he was put under like a sanction in Canada and in the UK. So whoever was on crew from those countries got like terminated immediately. And it was pretty crazy. And I remember the night before it happened, we sat down for this meeting. I had a call from below deck, and they were like, Culver, like, are you able to come back for season 2? And I was like, let me just get like 24 hours to think about it,
Perfect
know. And
timing.
yeah, and so I wake up and this captain's like, hey guys, so yeah, pretty much all the kids from Canada and UK are getting fired, and everyone needs to make a decision if they want to stick around or not, because it could be you in a week. And I was like, I might just, hey, can I grab that ticket to Australia? And
I don't speak very good Russian.
Yeah.
No, but it was crazy as far as like, man, I went from one program, flew across the world, put the mic on, and just jump right back into chartering, and you're just like, whoa.
That was dope that you had Aisha there on the season 2, because she's fucking cool. She seems cool as shit.
Yeah, no, and Aisha is like my closest friend probably through the whole thing. I think just because we've done 2 seasons together, and her and I definitely have that chemistry and that type of energy where it's like, we know how to kind of.
Yeah, it seems like there's a very good like big sister, little brother connection that you guys have going on, and it works really, really well. Or it seems to from the outside perspective.
Yeah, and because the Chiefs do, like, their jobs are tough as far as like they're always interacting with the guests. And so I don't know. I've always just learned being in the industry, it's like, man, make sure your Chiefs do, your interior is good. Check on them like, Aisha, you need anything? Like, let me know. And so I'm always like, when it comes to entertainment, if Aisha would be like, Culver, can you do this for me? Like, entertain the guests. I'm like, oh, I got you, Aisha. Like, we can kind of like brainstorm some stuff and then come up with like some good magic to sort of like throw in there. And the guests, I think the guests, they really enjoy it. You know what I mean? Because I always say to my crewmates, I was like, they're never going to leave this boat talking about how clean the windows are. But they will leave this boat saying, man, you remember when that kid came in and he showed us a good time and we did this like on that night and stuff like that. So I always try to make sure that the guests are really taken care of and you're selling them that experience because they're paying a lot of money to be there.
And I don't think that's harped on enough because sometimes from my perspective, if I'm watching it, it would be like the captain or somebody would get on him for shit that I'm like, who the fuck cares, man? Like he's killing it on the other perspective.
So like me being completely naive to that whole industry, I would assume part of your job would be like entertainment, like for the crew. Like they would want to see you and interact with you and go jet skiing with you and shit. But I guess maybe not.
It ends up being like you just got to find that balance of like, hey, let's make sure like we're getting everything taken care of on our end. And then I think entertaining will come like underneath your job, obviously, because it's like number one is like safety in the vessel and making sure everything's operations wise are going to code.
But as a guest, I'm like, I don't fucking care. I'm there for the party, man. I want to party with this guy. He seems like a good time. Yeah. When you guys are going out to these private islands or these, islands in the middle of the Barrier Reef to party for the day, I feel like if I'm a paying guest, like, I don't give a fuck what the bosun says.
Bro. Like, it sounds like there's a fucking wide variety of guests, like Russians that are turning the GPSs off.
No, I mean, I get that. I'm just talking about
I'm interested. Like, what's your most interesting guest that you've worked for? On or off the show, whatever. I mean,
probably one with an NDA.
Yeah, no, you definitely have a lot with like NDAs. I would say probably like.
No, you don't have to give. I don't want names.
No.
What they do or like where they're from, like what part of the world they're from.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. It's like I've just seen like so many different guests. So, but I think one of my favorite ones was probably like my first charter was we had the Atlanta Falcons owner charter the boat, Arthur Blank.
Oh yeah.
And this is like Culver's first charter. Culver's like a rookie, still learning how to clean windows. And I remember, God, dude, yachting was tough when I first got in it. You didn't know what you were doing, and these kids like, we got our first charter coming up, so like, don't screw things up, Culver. And I'm just like, all right, you're just like cleaning windows.
Keep the same pattern.
Yeah, right?
Just work all day long. Just do something.
Yeah, right? It's like kind of go through the motions, fake till you make it.
Right.
Yeah.
And Arthur Blank came on, and he ended up bringing like, it was just him and all his kids, and his kids were just like these American kids. Like I remember, like they were all like college athletes, and right when they got there, I just remember connecting with them, and I went out and I like dapped the one kid. I was like, "What's up, man?" Like my bosun was like, "What the hell was that?" I was like, I just said good morning, and like
oh, it seemed cool, man.
Yeah, exactly,
Right.
and that was like something where I first noticed. I was like, yeah, like it's like
I don't
you
get
should, you should. Like I get it. You always got to read those guests. So like, there's some guests like leave them alone, and there's some guests entertain them and make them feel comfortable because they're in your home, and they're in your world, and
that's part of you and your personality. I think that like the boss needs to understand, like, bro, this guy can read a room, fucking relax with the professionalism bullshit. You're selling people an experience.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, that's what it is. And so when you'd see things on the show, or like he's talking about like people getting butthurt about like, I guess, interacting with the guests and shit from an outside perspective, I'm like, why in the fuck does that matter?
Yeah, no.
So I'm with you.
Yeah, so it just depends. I've always just like try to make people like I said, have that experience and feel welcome. And you're always just trying to show them a good time.
Do you have like when the guests come on, when you guys are on your last night, they want to party with you guys? You got to tell them no?
It depends. Like usually it really depends if you're like at the dock and you're tied up. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah, we're going out to this bar. We'll just see you guys over there type of thing. Yeah. Versus like.
Yeah, I've seen some of the footage of guys interacting with guests. And the bosun will be like, oh, there's not going to be happening with clients. I'm like, dude, shut up.
Well, I would assume when you're on the boat, though, like you have a responsibility to make sure everything's safe.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So like, you can't really be drinking beers.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
Which sucks.
Because I understand that professional aspect of it. Like,
I don't.
No.
Dude, I paid fucking how much money to be on this ship? Like, if
I
want this guy to drink a fucking beer with me, come drink a fucking beer.
It's crazy because like I've had stories from old crewmates, and they're like, yeah, like that owner will be like, the captain calls a shot, but then that's where those captains get on those really tough decisions of like, you got the owner of the boat telling you like, no, I want the crew to come have some beers with me, and the captain's like, well, this is my boss, so like, these captains get thrown in some really tough I don't know, situations.
How was your relationship with your captain? Because it seemed like it was pretty good.
No, Jason and I get on well, and it's like I always tell people like Jason would be like working like for like your older brother almost, because he was intense like as far as like, but it was nice because as a young captain, like he wouldn't just sit in the bridge all day and do nothing. Like he was very involved with us as like whether it was like on deck or like the girls or this or that. He always wanted his hand in everything, and I think some people can look at it as like micromanaging, but I learned pretty quickly that was just his personality, and it was nice. It's like, dude, Jason could like drive the tender with one hand and put the tube out with the other, like the slide. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, he's like a saltwater cowboy for sure, but he was like he's tough to work for as far as like he expects you to be like going full speed and doing all these operations. But Jason and I get on well, and he's really like finds that perfect balance of like knowing when to push you and then knowing when to like bring you in and be like, you got this, like you're good. So I really like working for him. Yeah,
that's cool. What's your favorite destination that you've been so far yachting?
Oh, because you go so many places. I would say it's like when I first went to like Europe, I remember being culture shocked. I flew into like Germany, and it was like, whoa, everything's like in German. It's like, Guten Morgen, Guten Morgen. I was like, where am I at right now? Like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? So like, I always think when I pick these destinations, like I kind of like the Americanized versions a little bit, So I always recommend like Barcelona. I think is super cool. Like you get a little bit of you get the beach there, but you get a little historic to explore, and but like that whole French Riviera is super cool. But the Caribbean's great. Australia's cool. Like it really just depends on like what you're looking for.
It's badass that you've seen all that already, dude.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've probably been to like 28 countries, 30. Like, no, it's been like really a great way to travel for sure.
So you're sticking with the yachting industry as a career?
I don't know, because like as I see it, and it's really like it comes down to like you're married to these boats, so like you are
that's a lifestyle, dude.
Yeah, and so I you talk to these captains and you see them, they're like, yeah, I'm not making little Johnny's birthday this year, and you're not home for Christmas, and it's really like, I don't know if it would be for me, like kind of wanting to do the family thing.
Yeah, because you've always been pretty big on family. I know you got a close relationship with your family. That seems like a big part.
Yeah, so as far as like a bachelor job goes, it's sweet though. Like, I mean, you could be at sea and you're doing rotational gigs where you're like on 2 months, off 2 months.
That's dope. But it seems like there is a shelf life, right?
Yeah. Like, so for me, like, I think I'm like, I don't know if I could do it long-term wise, if it would be for me,
I didn't know if like you had aspirations to kind of maybe move up like to like a captain level, or just like kind of move up within the industry.
Yeah, no, and I think there's certain tickets I would want to get, like small boat captain licenses and things like that. But I don't think like I'd want to be responsible for like the 300-foot vessel and like the 28 crew and things like that. It is like the cool gig is like these officer positions, and then you're just like, the cool older brother, and you're under the captain, but you're not like in like the trenches with the boys, but you just like kind of bounce back and forth. So yeah, that would be a sweet gig to get.
Yeah, it would. I can see it almost being impossible with a family.
Yeah, no, it's tough, and like you see a lot of them are just like. I think if you do it, you're like your partner is like a stew, like you see it in like the an officer or captain, and then your wife is the chief stew, and you guys are just kind of like traveling together, and you're a couple deal when you get hired.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's pretty. I've seen some of that coming onto the seasons, but it does definitely seem like it'd be tough. Another thing I think would be tough is the cultural difference between people coming from Southern Maryland and then like going and working with because they work with people from all over the world within this thing. It's not just Americans. Right. For me, I feel like it would be pretty tough. Just seeing some of the personalities, I'd be like, dude, why are you acting so fucking weird?
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. Like, you get on these boats and you get kids from South Africa you're working with. You get kids from like the UK, Australia,
South
Canadian,
Africa, bro. That guy was a dick.
Oh, you get like
a dick.
Yeah, I mean, you get like all these kids from all walks of life. So it's cool culturally to like learn about these different people and sort of their tendencies and stuff like that.
Yeah, and just cultural stuff and what they eat, what they wear.
But it is pretty funny. And I think for me, it's like I've always looked at yachting as like it really, I do love that team aspect of it, of just like you got to come together. Cause like, I think what separated me what I don't know, I was like, when I got there, like on this boat, we would just work, months on end, Gene. And it was like, this is insane. And we wouldn't really there was no incentives really. You get a tip here and there, but it was no like high five, let's celebrate, stuff like that. And coming from our background with Coach Sneed and playing football, we always had like Wombat of the Week. And we always have these award ceremonies and stuff like that. So my rookie year, I remember I was like, dude, when I'm a big dog, like and these, my dick bosses graduate and I'm the guy in charge, like I'm gonna mix it up. And then I did that, and I came out with the golden chamois, and I think this was like a big turning point on these boats where it was just like a VIP award, and it was like, since we're working months on end and we're not going out, we're not even having a day off, we need to have some systems in place to get some crew some crew morale going. You
gotta have that for sure, dude. So
that keeps a competitive nature going too, like just like fun competition type thing.
Yeah, so like our deck team, we did it like this, Jim. We would have we call it a golden chamois, and your chamois on a boat is like your shovel, basically, Gene. Like you're using it to dry a boat and everything. And I was like, remember where I was with this like big Canadian kid? I was like, yo, we need to get some traditions, dog. Like we're doing the golden chamois of the week. We had a big deck crew of like 10 of us. And the first one was just like, all right, guys, we're starting this tradition. It's a golden chamois. So you win it, you sign it, you put a quote on it and a date. And then now Jim stepped up big this week. He's got it. So then Jim the next week would host a ceremony. And Jim, I remember these ceremonies kept getting bigger and bigger. And it was like, all right, Jim's hosting this week. He'd go in the workshop, and Jim brought a bunch of beers to it. And I was like, damn, Jim's got beers? Like, he's really hosting. Yeah. Gene won it. So then Gene's got it, and Gene's like, all right, we're in Germany this week. Like, decks a workshop out in, like, all Germany. He's got, like, all these, like, brought food to it and all this stuff. So these ceremonies kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And before you know it, like the captains were coming to them, the guests were coming to them, and like you would get like a big gold chain with the ceremony, a big gold jacket, and it was like, dude, it was like
you started this.
Yeah. And this tradition still goes on this boat. It's like so funny. Shit. Yeah. And it was just like, but it was like that, like I think just coming from that team environment of like knowing that you need those like those little things in place to sort of motivate the boys and get everyone going.
Dude, you gotta have it. It's so important. Gene throws me bonuses every month of like, you know, I don't hit them every month, but there's always like a step up to hit to it. And it's like, you gotta have that, dude. Or the day-to-day grind just gets so fucking mentally taxing.
Yeah, you gotta set achievable goals out there and then have like incentives, right? Which we're in business, dude, right? So the incentive is always money, right? Yeah. So you'll throw envelope of cash down and be like, look, y'all do this month, yours.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And that's why I like the sales world. It's like it's fun competition where nobody fucking loses.
Yeah.
Everybody's winning. The more you sell, the more money we're making. Everybody's winning.
Yeah.
You know,
right?
so
you'd be pretty good at sales.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's what I always.
It's like a branch off of the entertainment industry. I feel like you're just entertaining people in different interactions every single time. So, dude, going from Calvert County 900 fucking Instagram followers to 100,000 Instagram followers and being on Bravo, what have the DMs looked like on the lady side?
Dude, I mean, and this is funny. People always ask me that. They're like, you know, what are your DMs like? And I'm like, you don't get it. It's like everything under the sun. It's like, it's not just girls in there. It's like you got all your aunts at home that watch the show. You got like these, like, you know, your boys that like the guys like us at home that watch it and they're DMing you. And it just ends up being like everything is like kind of in there and you try to just go through it. It'd be like you having a birthday and you got to write like 100,000 thank you letters. And you're just like, you know what I mean? And you just like,
but it matters, dude. It matters. So like when I was at the point of my shit, like really blowing up from like 20 to like 50K, it was like, I noticed if I took 30 minutes and honestly, like I knew it mattered to people if they're messaging me, like it means a lot to them to get a DM from Culver back or something. Like, again, at the end of the day, like the whole point of the Instagram thing is like, one, you want to share your shit, but two, it's like, there's an opportunity to make money here. Like you can grow it really by having those interpersonal connections with people via DMs, but it's exhausting. I have to take an hour in the morning when I'm drinking coffee to sit there and just go through the requests, not even just the ones that are in there, but just the request. And then my daughter has like something ridiculous, like over 400,000 Instagram followers.
Your daughter?
Yeah, dude, it's fucking nuts.
What do you mean your daughter?
My 5-year-old daughter
has how many?
430,000, I think.
What?
Yeah,
does she know how old is she?
She's 5, dude.
And how? I mean, I've
about
never
to throw
even
a
heard
McKinsey contracting beanie on.
Yeah, right.
Dude, like, for sure. So this is her profile. So my wife just made a video of her one time.
Okay.
And
that's insane.
Just a video of her doing one thing. And it like blew up on her page, and I was like, yo, I'm getting a little bit of cash money's thrown at me from Instagram. Like, you should probably like create her account and start. And this is when we were getting paid for Reels. Now we don't get paid for Reels anymore. But at the time, I was like, yo, we can probably pay for her fucking college by doing this. Well, as soon as she started getting verified and stuff, like they took that Reel thing away. So I think we're getting ready to end the page. But her DMs, like Steph doesn't even fuck with them. Like she doesn't even. I'm like, yo, you cannot get into the trap of responding to these because it'll be hours on end trying to respond to them. But going back to my original question, stop dodging the question. What do the women situation look like in the DMs?
I mean, you always like got like I said, you got like people from all over hitting you up. So
give Jimmy the fucking answer.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some good-looking girls.
All right, there we go.
Sure.
That's what I wanted to know.
Like,
you know what he's fucking asking.
You got some girls in there, but at the same time, like being on a Bravo show, like you have a lot of like men in there too. At the same time, that are just like. You know, like the one questions I always get is like, Culver, what do you do for working out? And then they're always like, what's your OnlyFans? And I'm like, oh,
dog.
Like
that might be your next move.
You know what I mean? And like, and it's funny with the fitness thing, Jimmy. It's crazy. I ended up writing a book this year.
No shit.
Which was like because it was like they asked me for my workouts all the time, Gene. So I was like, all right, let me just like write some workouts up. And then once I was writing the workouts, I was like, well, let me put a little section on like eating. And I'm like, well, fuck, we're like, you know, a few pages deep. Like, might as well put your background in there. And then I put some words of inspiration. And before you know it, you're like, I'm sitting here writing a book right now, you know? And it was just something, it was a passion project I was doing in my free time. And
dude.
Those usually end up being the best ones, dude.
Yeah.
If you stage something and try to go out and sell it, when it comes to this kind of stuff, it never does well. If you have something that you're passionate about and you're just like, I'm doing this for fun, let's see what the fuck happens.
Yeah.
Like from a marketing standpoint, looking back on it, like, dude, you have an incredible platform to sell something that you actually have to practice on a regular basis, being stuck on these ships. Like you have to have minimal equipment workouts. Like the way you carry yourself, your body composition is awesome. And then having to like, hey, I have to party once every 4 days. And like, here's what I do to eat, et cetera, work out. Like most people have the equipment available that you have on a boat. Like there's a huge audience, I feel like, for selling something like that.
And that's
dude.
Yeah, for me, it's like, I think growing up, even in the weight room with you guys, was always like, I always said, like, we were so lucky to have Coach Snead and run the type of like program we had. And I mean, you look back on it, it's like Snead had us like sponsored by Metrics, and like we were just running the blueprint of Maryland and all that stuff. And
dude, so we talked to him on here last week. Which we haven't gotten that uploaded yet, but we both told him, I was like, dude, Snead, I still look at you like you're associated with Huntingtown. Like I look at you and I think Huntingtown. He's been at Calvert for 12 years now, dude. Yeah, crazy. Like, dude, I don't even look at you like a Cavalier, but look at, you know, like, but it's wild how long we've been out of school, man.
No, and like I was saying, I just think like what he taught us at such a young age, like 14, we're learning like everything from training to nutrition to recovery to speed and agility, all this stuff. So it was like, dude, it was like, I remember going through high school and you learned it all. And then I studied exercise science in college, and, you know, you train under all these different coaches. And then by the time you guys would know, like, Jim, you do enough of these workouts on your own for so many years, like you just know your body like the back of your hand. And I always tell people, it's like, depends on what season of life you're training for. It's like, I'm not playing football anymore, so I don't really need to be doing like 225-pound power cleans over my head. You know, it's like now I'll do more like calisthenic stuff, surfer style workouts. So I got to walk my ass up and down like 20 flights of stairs on these boats.
Flexible a little bit.
But there's so many different ways you can train, and I've always been just like kind of like a workout geek, I think, and it started in high school in the weight room.
I'm curious, man, just the process of writing a book. What's like, obviously it's your content, and you're writing it, and but like as far as like organizing it and putting it together and publishing it, and like you have help with that, or you doing all that yourself? Like
I had this this one kid, he watched the show, and he would always, this is so funny, this kid Chris, and he lives in Pennsylvania, and he would always take like these photos of things and Photoshop my face on them and send them to me, and they were like hilarious. Random dude, and it was just like all the time to be like,
I'd be concerned he wanted to wear them.
Like, and this is the DMs. These are the DMs I'm talking about. Always, send me $100 bill and Culver's Keith Stone faces on it with like sunglasses and just like all this stuff. So Chris was always sending me stuff, and then he wrote a few pages of it, and he's like, hey man, check this out, and it was like, man, that's a pretty good written book, you know. And so I was like, would you want to FaceTime? And then we got to FaceTime, and he's like, yeah, like, Culver, I've never, like he obviously is very talented when it comes to like doing that digital stuff and things like that. And so he helped me edit it, but it was sort of us like kind of shooting some ideas about it. And it's all my knowledge. It's basically, it's a fitness book, and it's called Fit for Duty, and how I stay in shape at sea and on land. And I put in there just like, like my background and how I started. And I wanted it because it's very broad, Jim. Like, you know how fitness can be, and it can be overwhelming for people sometimes. So I just wanted to put some of my like my basic movements in there, the pillars of what I use, like to sort of like that's helped me over time. And then I designed a 6-week workout you can follow in there. I put just a bunch of meals for like your breakfast, lunch, and dinner ideas, and then just like some words like inspiration, just like about patience and just having a good attitude, and things like that. And then I put some resources to just like grocery list on it, like some goal planning, just stuff like that. So it ended up coming together, but it was sort of me learning as I go. And I struggle to write an Instagram caption sometimes. So I sit here now that I got it done, I'm like, I can't believe I wrote like a 90-page book.
Did you do it in ebook?
It's
format?
An ebook.
Okay, cool.
And that's cool because then you can just like, if like, Jim, like working in, you can just pull it up on your phone while you're at the gym. So it kind of made sense to do it like that.
So I was doing personal programming for a while for like, at one point I had 60 clients and the money was really good, man. I was making like somewhere between $100 to $150 a month, which like, it's a lot of money, man. Yeah. But it got so fucking stressful, individually programming for each of these people. Cause then they'd be like limited equipment, or they'd hit you up and say, hey, what do I sub for this? And like, it's easy enough to say, hey, sub this for this, but you have to have that conversation with each person, be like, what equipment do you have? What should we sub? And I was like, dude, I don't know that I can do this anymore. Like I couldn't do it. Eventually I just stopped doing it because it's so fucking much.
No, and I think you see everything's like shifting online now, and you can run an online business of anything. But I've always thought about like, what that's like as an online trainer, because I feel like I'm knowledgeable in it, but I don't have as much experience online running those programs. And did you use like an app or something?
No, so I did a spreadsheet for them and I'd send it out, and then again, I wasn't experienced in it either. I just kind of went off on a whim, and I was just having each person individually message me via text message, like, hey, keep me updated on your program, like put your shit in, send it to me, etc. Yeah. And it got so overwhelming that I was like, I can't do this shit anymore. And like I said, the money was really good, but for me, it was like continually posting these videos every single day online got to be so fucking exhausting. And I was like, I just want to go to the gym and work out by myself and not film it, not have to answer any questions about it, not test programming for people, etc.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And that's the thing. I think of it like when you really sit back and look at it, and you're like, you're doing all your marketing, you're doing all your like follow-ups with clients. And then you're doing your workouts in general, where I could see why it could become a little overwhelming.
I was down for the grind, but there's a shelf life, right? Like I'm only going to have a 6-pack and big arms for so long in my life. Like eventually at like 45, I'm not going to be able to be an influencer anymore on Instagram. So I was like, all right, maybe I ought to fucking call Gene and ask for a job.
Yeah, no.
You've regretted it every day since.
No.
Fuck.
Right? It's definitely a lot harder than working out. All people are like, oh, I could never work out all day. I'm like, dude, I would so much rather work out for 8 fucking hours than go to work. It would be so much more enjoyable.
Right? And that's the thing. Like you see, you're in that CrossFit world, but it is crazy when you see the people that do it full time. And I think it's because they have their teams that like they start letting other people wear those hats. And it's like, I got a guy that just does my filming, my editing for me. And so then you can sort of...
People are looking to cut their teeth in that industry too. So you'll have guys that just hit you up. Be like, yo, can I come film for you? Like, yes, please. Fucking God, please come film for me. That would be amazing. Yeah. But I've always... People are like, oh, the athletes have it so hard, like working out for 8 hours. Bro, if I was talented enough to be in that position, I would all fucking day long. I'd rather... If you told me you're going to pay me to go run in the mountains every single day for 8 to 10 hours, I'd be like, okay. Like minimum wage, I'm fine, enough to pay my bills. I would be completely content with it. But
I saw because it's funny how like I've followed like Mackenzie Contract, and like you guys do a great job with your social media, and I was even telling Coach Sneed, like even Coach Sneed, like I was like, man, I was able to follow his season because he's got a great social media guy, and like no, it's cool when you have your systems in place and someone who's an expert in it that can help you out.
I'm learning as I go with a lot of this shit, man, because my shit kind of took off on my Instagram page with just filming a fucking iPhone in my garage. And like in our industry, it takes a whole lot more than that to get views and to turn it into business then at the end of the day. So
because the reason we do the marketing and the online presence is strictly to convert that into sales. It's the only reason you do it. Like, you're not trying to be a movie star. You're not trying to make commercials. Like, I want people to go to the website, need the service, and call us. So, like, you're looking at it in a different way, you know?
Yeah.
So, it's hard to...
It's hard to get commercial traction on the platforms the way the algorithm's designed and then turn it into sales. It's pretty interesting, especially I'm not anywhere near an expert in any of it, but I think we've managed to do a pretty good job locally, especially to market ourselves and maybe when people see Mackenzie trucks now, they know all the cool shit we do.
Yeah. It's definitely... I like it. It's crazy when you look at some of those jobs, you know what I mean? And you're like, man, that hardscaping you guys are doing, it's like, that's a sweet job. The tree cutting, like, dude, that is wild. Like, there's some cowboys up in them trees doing that stuff.
Oh yeah, dude, they're legit. They are absolutely.
I can't
legit.
even watch sometimes.
Yeah, like I mean, dude,
I might have a heart attack if I stay here and watch.
Really,
this shit.
like that, dude. It's insane. And like, I mean, even my mom would she would hate to see some of the stuff that we do in the industry. Like they got us crawling up the mast of these boats and then throwing soap all over the ground and walking in it. You know what I mean? You're just like, there's no way this is safe. But you got to do the same thing. Like you get the harnesses on and you find like whatever stainless steel you can attach yourself to. And then you got to get like on the side of the boat and like, give it a wash down and everything like that. But
yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, no, I look at them tree guys and I'm like, that's a whole different game right there. Like they at least put some steps in place for us to walk up there, you know?
Yeah. No, it's definitely an industry that's It takes a special type of person to want to do that.
Yeah.
To climb 80 foot up with a chainsaw.
I was very interested in doing it, but again, there's a shelf life to it, right? Like after 45, like 50 years old, like I'm not going to be climbing up 100-foot poplars when I'm 45 years old. Like you can't physically do it anymore. So I was like, I better get into this kind of position where I can sell the work, market the work, etc. So you are what, 32 now?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your goal, man? Like where do you see this taking you? Or you have like some kind of career aspirations, or do you kind of look to move over? Because you got a pretty badass skill set when it comes to the kinesiology, and I think your knowledge of working out, and it seems like it's a passion there. Like, are you going to try to transition to that, or do you see yourself working on more shows? Do you see yourself just doing yachting? Where do you see yourself?
It really, like, man, I take it kind of day by day, and you do get opportunities that come your way all the time, and people reach out, and it's a possibility you can go on like another show, and I think I just try to find that balance with all of it of like, like I'm open to anything right now, but I definitely would see myself in the next 4 years trying to like maybe jump into more like a solid job with benefits and sales and having a family and things like that.
Yeah.
And
that's always going to be there, dude. So I would say that's always going to be there for somebody like you. Same thing. I've been in the situation where if you're a likable person, you can kind of teach yourself to do anything else. And the biggest thing is like, do people like you? They're going to want to employ you, right? So while you have this ticket of, what you have going on with the show, I think you absolutely cash and double down on any opportunity to be on shows, because there's a shelf life, dude.
Yeah.
In there for sure.
Yeah. Maybe we need to start one here at McKenzie Contracting.
I would love to. I mean, I'd have to edit.
You could definitely make a show here.
I'd have to edit the fuck out of everything he says.
Yeah, that'd be a tough one.
We already had that talk, guys. I'm not
Dude,
TV quality.
Dude, it's also, I was talking to Steph about this the other day. Like, I'm a big Shane Gillis fan. Like, I think he's fucking hysterical. But the way that he talks on podcast or Instagram, I'm like, dude, that's how I've been talking with my fucking friends for the last 30 years. And Steph tells me I'm not allowed to do that in public.
All you got to do is film how you talk with Joe Rogan and then put it all over the internet, and people are like, "Oh,
if
that's
you
not
say,
offensive. That's funny."
If you say you're a comedian, then you're allowed to talk like a guy, like we've been talking our entire lives, dude. It's fucking wild. Well, dude, I really appreciate you coming in and talking with us, man. It's been cool to watch you on the show. Stay true to yourself, represent the county well, and it's been fun to watch the show, having a rooting interest in it too. So I'm hoping Bravo's got something up its sleeve where it kind of brings you. Did you go to BravoCon?
No, usually they'll bring out, like, if your season's airing during BravoCon, like they'll bring that, like, people from that crew out for it.
That shit looks cool.
No, we always joke around. We're like, the Down Under kids were like the ugly step kids of Bravo. Like, I was like, why don't we get invited to nothing? But the med kids always get like,
dude, I don't get it because, and then your season didn't even have a reunion.
Yeah, they don't do a reunion with us. So
up.
it's just, I don't know. It's interesting.
Maybe
like the way
numbers were down, man.
I don't know. Our numbers are solid. I just think it's like, I think they have so many shows in the pipeline. They just got to kind of keep it rolling and things like that. And again, this is all above my pay grade. I don't know how they make decisions at the big house. And
is there anything going on with season 3?
So I
that you're allowed to talk about? Is there a plan for
it? I think there's a plan for it.
Okay.
I don't know any of the details, and I'd share them if I did, but I believe there is some works for season 3. I don't know who's going to be, going back for it. I'd imagine the big man Jason's going to be at the helm, but I'm not sure exactly what crew or where they're going to do it.
I think Jason needs to permanently attach himself with you and Aisha for that show, because you two are the most entertaining, lovable characters on there. The other guy, your boss, towards the end, fucking get him out of here, dude. That guy seemed like such a dickhead. I don't know him. Again,
fuck that guy.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. I'm like, bro, why are you breaking my boy's balls right now, dude? Let it go, my man.
And that's the thing. And they, like I said, I always say, like, they have so much footage, you know what I mean? That, like, you're going to do 10 things right. Like, we did the Golden Chamois during 2 seasons. I've done it where I'm like, you know what, we're going to do the VI, like the MVP award. And we're doing these big ceremonies. Bravo sees it. Cut it out, and you're just like,
shit.
Yo, they're just like, no good. We need more drama, and you're just like, come on, man.
How's your girl Sheffy been, man?
Sheffy's good.
I loved her, man.
Yeah, no, Sheffy, man, her food was outrageous,
dude.
Too.
It looked fucking killer.
And that's the thing, like, man, she was really like into the little details of like
she's hard on herself, man.
Yeah, no, and you get a lot of those chefs that like they'll cater, you know, pretty heavy to the guests, you know, and the crew gets put on the back burner. But Sheffy was always like, yo, we're getting the same things these guests are getting, and it's like it's off the hook. And that was the thing that
would probably be a tough job,
dude. Oh, that part is like
they give you
that's
sheet.
The toughest job on the boat. I always say,
so?
Gene, for sure, is like those
as far
chefs
as keeping everybody happy.
Dude, they got a sheet of preferences of like. Like, for instance, the one time they had to do teppanyaki or however you fucking say it. It's Japanese steakhouse shit, right? She's like, I'm a fucking fine cuisine, I do some badass shit, and you want me here to flip a fucking egg roll? Like, I can't do that shit. Yeah. Like, this is what my skill set. But no, like, the captain was like, I don't care. These guys are paying a lot of money to make it happen. It's kind of like how you treat me on a regular. I don't fucking care. Just make it happen.
Yeah. That's how Jason
was like, Gene, man, let me take my shirt off and fucking post some videos. I'm like, nah, man. How about you go sell some tree work?
Who was it? It's the one that like you all put up the other day. It was like bush clearing, but it was like playing to Creed.
Oh yeah,
Instagram. She was like, I keep telling Jim not to put Creed on this stuff.
Fucker.
All right. I was like, bush clearing to Creed is kind of cool though. I got to give it to him.
It made the video so much cooler. We're also in a. I mean, you get this too. Like you have an audience now. Like you have to kind of limit what you can and can't say or do, because commercially, like, I feel like me and Gene's personality would probably sell really fucking well to like 80% of the county, but there's 20% that would probably fucking hate us. So we had to like.
He's got to run everything by my wife now.
Yeah. Okay.
So Carly's the big boss.
And does Carly works in the company too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So she helps like office stuff, like
sweet.
payroll and insurance,
and she'll tell me like what we can and can't.
And I mean that is smart as far as just getting a second opinion before you put it out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, definitely like just helps you get an outsider's perspective before you put it all out there.
It's so hard because like the shit that blows up on Instagram is like obviously the really funny stuff that like some of our customers probably wouldn't appreciate, but I'm like, come on, relax, man. Like it's fucking funny. Like, why can Shane Gillis fucking say it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, dude. But that's cool. I think that Jason needs to bring back Sheffy, Aisha, and you. That's a fucking squad right there. Like you can throw. I liked everybody on your season. Harry seemed a little bit off, man. Seemed like a weird fucking kid. But I think that's
vested on this show, bro.
Dude. Are you?
Like,
and that's the thing. And you get like that's the thing I've noticed with this show was like, man, you get people where you walk down the street and they don't know it, or you get these people who come out of like the woodworks and they're like, "Yo, you're the kid from Below Deck," and like they just love it, and like they're like. They want to know everything about it, and you're like, man, this is,
It's really weird the first time it happens. I remember I was in the Annapolis area for the St. Patrick's Day parade. Some guy was like, Murph, it's a guy from fucking Murph. And I was like, dude, this is weird. And then it happened like 7 more times that day. And I was like thinking about your platform is even bigger. And then furthermore, we took my daughter to a cheerleading competition in Ocean City. And she had like 6 followers come up to her and recognize her and like bring up these little things that she said in her video. I was like, dude, that's fucking wild.
Yeah, that is crazy. I can't believe your daughter has that many. I'm sitting here, I had no idea, you know.
We've made $0 from it too, so which sucks because I'm like, I want to stack some bread for her college fund.
Yeah.
So like I texted Jimmy because I was just scrolling on Facebook or Instagram, and there was just a random person that had his daughter on their post, like they just like copy and paste
really?
it.
Yeah, they cut her out.
They like cut her out and put it on top of their shit. And I sent it to him. I was like, Jimmy, what the fuck is this, dude? Like, you know about this? He's like, no, it happens all the time.
It happens all the time. There's fake accounts. My girl, Brittany Murphy, she is a Bravo, like hardcore.
Oh, God.
Dude, she's the fucking best. So me and her will get back on Instagram, back and forth, DMing each other about Southern Charm and Vanderpump. Okay. And your show. But
you know the one that they actually asked me if I'd be interested in being on was the Winter House.
Dude, you should have gone on it, bro.
And I mean, that's the thing. So winter's coming up, so it's still a possibility of like they're doing these crossovers where they bring these like Below Deck kids onto like these other shows, and they do these collabs, which is always cool.
It's like you're in a reality situation, right? You're in the mountains for snowboarding or skiing, like you're there for however long, and then there was an initial 5 cast people, but now there's been crossover because there's a girl that like a Southern Charm guy's dating. Dude, don't fucking judge. Like don't judge me fucking right now at all.
Jimmy, I've been judging you since we fucking started this thing, dude.
I'm so emotionally invested in this shit, bro. And Brittany's she's the only other person I know that will, like, in my wife, I'd be like, yo, did you see what happened? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, what should I ask Culver? But she said she's tuning in. The only question I had that I'm going to ask you, the other ones were like completely ridiculous. One of my followers is a friend of mine, Laura. She watches your show a lot. She said, if Culver had to kill fucking Mary his season, who is it going to be? Fuck killing Mary? Is it FKM? Fuck kill Mary. Yeah.
Fuck killing Mary.
Season 2.
On season 2? Well,
season 2.
Obviously, I was hooking up with my girl, so I guess I'll take,
take her.
That's who I'm fucking already on TV. Mary-wise, I guess I'm going to have to...
This is tough for you,
This is really tough. I'm going to have
Jeffy and Aisha, I know it's
I know. We're going to... I guess you're going to... It's a close one, but we're going to have...
marry a girl that can cook.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So we're going to have to marry Sheffy, and then we're going to have to kill, like, that... I hate to say it, Laura's going to have to...
Yeah, she had...
That we're overboat, you know? And I think she got thrown over pretty early in the season, so...
Dude, yeah. Is that tough to see the backlash from where they edited, like, and then you like get to know this person, and then you see like the shit that's getting said about them online and stuff? I gotta imagine that's pretty tough.
Because there's two sides to every story with this stuff, and you're just like, you know, and you get it. And it's like these producers got a tough job, and if you're blowing up my Instagram, being like, "F you, Culver," like they're doing their job, I guess, because
it's entertaining.
Exactly, because if it was just kind of us like shooting the shit and sitting around, like
they're getting people invested.
Exactly.
They're getting pumped up enough where they want to reach out to you personally and tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah, right.
It's
and
dog, I've almost done it. I've almost done it, dog. I've been watching Southern Charm, be like, this motherfucker,
right?
And then I'd be like, dude, you're a grown ass man about to message another grown ass man about a fucking reality TV show. But
and that's what you always try to remind viewers is like, guys, like this is the closest reality there is to yachting, but at the same time, this is a reality TV show that is produced mainly for entertainment. Right. You know what I mean? Like it is not 100% as authentic as you believe these things look. Well, and I think some of these people just like there, it's like, yo, just, and that's why I don't take it like this internet stuff that personal, because it's like, come on, like, are you seriously?
Well, dude, you're stepping in. If you were to do Winter House, that's all entertainment. There's no work being hidden in it.
So it's like real world.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah. It's like fucking 10 people in a house, and it's just like hooking up.
I always run it by like Chef Keem, like my agent. I'm like, what do you think about this show? And it makes Below Deck look like an Ivy League show, to be honest. Yeah, dude. It's like, you know, we're working and like staying busy, and then the Winter House is more them like, we're here for the ski season, and they're just like drinking and partying and coming up with like stunts to like kind of bring like a show to fruition, which
you would crush it, like, dude. You would absolutely crush it.
Yeah, kind of that snow sports background. So we'll see.
Dude, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so I was, you know, always grew up and worked in the mountains. And
dude, I would hope that you get a collab. If you get a collab with Southern Charm.
What's his name? There's one guy that has the mullet. Everyone's always telling me.
I don't know.
You got to know
what
him,
show is he from?
You know this guy. He's a big Bravo guy.
So, dude, if it's not those three franchises that I talked about,
he's from like, I guess I think it's Southern Charm or one of those shows. He has a mullet and he's like the main guy in Winter House. In Summer House.
Yeah. What's his name, dude, no, I know you're talking about. Yeah. I know you're talking about. Yeah.
Everyone's always telling me that, like, you and him would like hit it off, because this guy's like known for his mullets and stuff.
You guys would. Too. He's fucking awesome. He's actually really, really funny. But the Southern Charm people have been coming on to the Winter House now because the one guy's dating the one girl, Paige, from there. But I want to see you, and my dream would be to see my boy Culver take Taylor out on a date from Southern Charm.
Okay.
That's what needs to happen.
To look up who Taylor is.
She's a 10 right now. She's going through some tough stuff. She's been playing a little kissy with the crew.
All right.
Kissing on a lot of guys.
You need to tag her in this and put like a little clip on there.
Yes.
There you go. I think it's Olivia, who's actually her, like, they're going against each other right now. They were best friends. Each of them hooked up with Austin, et cetera, et cetera. Dude, it's a big fucking deal. I listen to the fucking podcast now, bro. All right, I'm fully fucking in on this, man. And now I'm like rooting for these one girls, and I'm like, I love these girls. They gotta be friends. Like that guy.
This is what Jimmy's listening to on his 100-mile races, just like, dude, and it's just fuel.
That's what I listen to. I listened to Austin and Craig's fucking podcast, and I was running in the mountains, bro. I'm so emotionally invested in this shit.
Oh,
that is wild.
Crazy.
That you listen to that shit while you work out.
Oh, yeah, dude.
That's wild.
Wow. Southern Charm, man. I'm telling you, that show has got me. I thought I was emotionally invested in Vanderpump Rules, but this one is so beyond another level.
Didn't Theo Von get Big from Real World or something?
Yeah, Real World Road Rules.
Yeah, Road Rules.
Road Rules.
Another one, yeah.
Yeah.
But Bravo's taken it to just a whole nother fucking level. I mean, I like really gritty, tough shit. I like mountain runs. I like fucking doing Murph every day for 365. When Southern Charm gets on, don't fucking talk to me. It's on.
Never even heard of it, Jim.
I know of it just from being in that Bravo world, but I'm not able to watch these seasons really. You know, like
you better start to get.
I know. I got to get to watch it. I got to get. We need to get in these chats.
Yeah, dude. I need to get on the phone with people from Bravo and be like, "Yo, my boy Culver would be a perfect fucking fit." I think you can pretty much vibe with anybody, man. I think Winter House would be a sick spot for you, just because, like I said, man, you're a personality, and it's cool that who you are on that is exactly who you are in person. So
I would keep it rolling, bud.
Yeah, dude.
Like you're doing good,
and that's the thing. Like I think when you do 2 in a row, it's like obviously like it's very difficult unless you're like a captain that they bring you back for like a third one. But they always love, like any show or movie loves a good throwback. So maybe later down the road they'll call you out of nowhere and be like, "Yeah, Cole, we come through and jump on again." So my inbox is always open.
You got to, bro. You got to find one of those. I mean, double down while you can, bro, because you are a fan favorite. That's for sure. And it's enjoyable to watch, man. People want somebody to root for or be emotionally connected to. And I feel like you give people that. Also, it's one for the bros, bro. Like guys watching me like, hey, that's a guy I would drink a beer with.
Oh, yeah.
No, and it's funny, like, as far as like when I went on there, Gene, and I think you guys saw, like Keith Stone was running around here around the yard. He loves the trucks. He's a big time cutter. He came over to actually apply for a job. But like when I went on that show, Keith Stone was not even planned. Like he got there, Jim, didn't even plan it. I brought all these props for a golden chamois ceremony. So I had the wigs in there, all these things. So I hosted the golden chamois ceremony. And then you've seen it on this episode. Jason, we come back from night out, and he's like, Culver, Mike, where's your wigs? And I was like, oh, they're right here. And then it ended up being like the captain's wearing a mullet, Bertini's wearing a mullet, and me, and we're just like drinking beers. And that was the first like, okay, Culver's got mullets. And then these guests came on, and then Jason was like, I'm gonna need you to put your mullets on and get out there, mate. And so like that was like so the entertainment started. But what really the how Keith Stone was born on TV, Jimmy, was I had a roommate and our toilet over flooded, Gene, and like this kid between the lights, the camera, the charters was like, out of all this, and now I got shit all over my floor. Like he's like, I'm done. I am. He was like packing his bag, and I was like, Benny, yo, we got this, dog. Like we got this, and we put. I had him put this mullet on, and I was like, look, you gonna put this mullet on? You gonna be my apprentice for the day, okay? And we ended up like cleaning it up, and like it just took his mind off that all his stuff was covered in shit on top of being here on this crazy experience.
He was a very emotional kid too.
Yeah.
And so I had to go to an interview that day because we do them while we're tied up at the dock. And I stayed with my mullet on. And I walked in, I sat down, and he's just like, all right, Corey, like, seriously, you need to take the mullet off. And I was like, yeah, whatever, man. And they're just like, okay, like, guys, Culver's not taking the mullet off. And like, I have my glasses on. They were like, who is this? And I remember Keith Stone was this funny character we used to just like joke about back in college, like, you know what I mean, drinking beers with the boys. And Keith Stone.
Keystones.
That's
what I think of.
Yeah, and it never even came from Keith Stone, but people always like joke about that. And no, it was just like, I just like kind of on the moment, like, they'd be like, who is this? And I was like, oh, you just call me Keith Stone, baby. And then he kept coming back out during like these like kind of like these parties with the guests, and then eventually like it's crazy. Like people, he's like a staple on my season where people are like, they love some Keith Stone.
That's awesome, man.
And it's just like, it was so unplanned, Jimmy, and just like hilarious. And people request cameos from Keith Stone all the time. They're like, can we get Keith Stone to wish us a happy anniversary? Or can we get like,
that's awesome.
So funny. And and it was just something that was so unplanned and just like, off the cuff, and like to see it sort of like come to fruition the way it is, it's like hilarious. So now I try to just like lean into it and just like,
bro.
Yeah, kind of like it is such a funny character. You try to keep him rolling. But I'd say he's probably more popular than me, Gene. So
I got to ask you one last question, because I always thought about this. Was there somebody from your past, a girl from your past or whatever, that wouldn't give you the time of day? And then you blew up, and she gave you the time of day, and you're like, "Oh, nah."
No, not really.
Damn it.
No.
I was just always hoping for that story, man.
No, I don't really think the women's situation changed for me whether I was on the show or not. You know what I mean? I think I've always been kind of flirty and like kind of exactly. Yeah. And
I said that about when you were on the show with Sheffy.
Oh, and I get such a bad rep. Like, and they'll and that's what I'm saying, Gene. They'll take they can story write this stuff up. So like, they'll take any snip of anything and just be like, "Hey, thanks, Sheffy," and they'll be like, "Perfect, got it."
Yeah.
And then dude, and they could just you could see them like, "Look at them building it."
Dude, I said it to Steph when they showed that exact scene. They like try to make it seem like he was like really giving her extra. I was like, dude, Culver's like that with anybody he has a connection with. Like he's kind of flirty, like also like just really nice to the girl. Like he's not leading her on, but you could see in the comments people were like, hey, he's fucking leading her. I'm like, no, dude, that's like him.
You'd be like, he's using her for food. He's an asshole. And you're just like, yo.
Why wouldn't you be nice to the woman that's cooking your food?
Number one rule in life.
That's the biggest thing. For me, it was like I'd always make sure, because like my department, I got some backups. I got my boys with me. The girls got them. Like the chef's in there by themselves for the season. It's so many moving parts. That's I'd always drop in and like check on Zarina and just like make sure she was all good and then try to help her out any way I could. But
just being a good dude.
Yeah, no. And then you just like see the way it goes. Like, oh, they're gonna write some type of curveball storyline, and they're like, "Look at him in there. He just left work in the middle of the day to go have a sandwich with Sheffy." You're like,
they did play that hard.
You're like, okay, yeah, that's right. I just left in the middle of the charge. Just go start. Just go start.
Yeah,
eating.
They made a whole storyline behind him looking for his protein shakes.
Yeah, right.
I was like, dude, that couldn't have been more than 5 minutes.
Oh, right, yeah. You're like all day long. Like even the hot tub, like. In first season, Jim was like, that was the first time when I really saw like, dude, whoa, this is how they make TV. It was I had these guests and it was like, they were like Culver, like they were just like all fired up,
They wanted you in the hot tub.
And they were like, can you get in the hot tub and take a picture? Like Keith Stone was out and I was like, yeah, for sure. I got you. Like, and I was like, let me knock a couple things out, did my job. And like, if you can take 5 minutes to make someone's day, getting in the hot tub and take a picture, that's that thing I talk about, like knowing the crowd, knowing like what you're allowed to do and whatnot. They didn't ask to pick up anchor and move the boat or something, like they want you to get in the hot tub, take a picture. For the tip, that's a layup for me. Like,